Welcome to the Mindset Mentor segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. We kick off each and every show with mindset because it is fundamentally important to everything else. You have to get that why correct before you understand the how. Jason, our topic today, can you rehearse your future the way you relive your past? Why is that question important? Why is it on your mind this week?
Well, that's a great question. The reason it's on my mind is because as we again release the brand new book, the Payday Practice, we get more and more feedback. I get to start listening to how people are thinking. And much of what I'm going to talk about here today, much of it is really based on Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. So I want to give credit where it's due. And much of what I'm going to talk about is really kind of referencing the way he describes it, which I, at this point, fully agree with. What he talks about is that we are in control of our focus, as in what our eyes are looking at, as in there's an infinite number of things going on right at this very moment, but where your eyes, where your attention, where your energy are is what's most important to you in this moment. That's an important skill set to be, number one, be aware of, and then number two, make sure you're in control of. Why do I bring that up? Well, as Jeff and I released this brand new book, The Payday Practice, what it's really about is not our book, but it is about your future. And more specifically, it's about financing your future. More specifically, what we mean is that there will be an inevitable day that every chiropractor will one day face where whether you get injured, whether you decide you want to retire, whether you want to take extended time off, whether the world shuts down the world again, or any other infinite number of reasons, there may be a reason at some point you are not physically able to show up to a practice, bend over a table, provide services like you normally do in exchange for revenue. In fact, in exchange for the revenue that supports you, your family, and your lifestyle, and maybe even your children and your future. And that is an issue. The reason it's an issue is because many chiropractors practice for many, many years, decades in fact, with chronic financial stress, with this need to chronically make sure they have enough new patients to pay their bills every single month. And as Jeff and I have been doing what we've been doing for the many, many years we've been doing it, the feedback we've gotten from most chiropractors is some version of, well, that's a great idea. You're right. It would be great if more of us taught people what chiropractic was really about, but I need new patients now. And if there was one common denominator, one common theme, one thread most chiropractors have in common, it may not be their philosophy. It is their chronic need for more new patients because of their chronic need for ongoing financial support, which is the exact reason why we came up with the Payday Practice concept, which is very simply understanding what your monthly recurring expenses are so that you can generate automatically monthly recurring revenue to cover those monthly recurring expenses. Imagine if on the first day of every month, instead of going back to zero in collections, you actually turned it into payday. You actually generated enough recurring revenue automatically to cover that month's business expenses. How would that change your practice? How would it change your life? How would it change your self-esteem? How would it change your relationships? How would it change your interaction and engagement with the people that do come in to see you? How it would change, I'll tell you, is that it would give you the ability to be in control of who you choose to work with and who you don't choose to work with, in control of how much work you want to do or don't want to do once you've met your expenses, in control of how you choose to practice. And being in control means that you have less, in fact, maybe no financial stress once you know you're covering your bills. And that's our goal for you. Why do we bring up today's topic? Well, there's a lot of history, a lot of memories, a lot of reliving the past, your past, that oftentimes will come up as reasons, maybe I'll call them excuses, as to why you think you may not be able to pull off what it is that we're teaching. So far, most people go, this is a great idea. But some people go, but I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know if other chiropractors can pull this off. And the only reason anybody would ever come up with that type of feedback is because they are reliving their past history. They are referencing their current, present moment and their future based on their past, oftentimes based on their traumatic past, their limited past, their frustrated past, any other past that may not be the most inspiring, most supportive, most encouraging ideas or experiences that lead you to an I can do it attitude. And so that's why I bring this up, is as you read the book, as you perhaps think about your future and how great it can be, not how devastating it might be based on your past, which is the point. If you look into the future and you see doom and gloom, if you see frustration, if you see more challenges, more dread, the only reason you'd be seeing that in your future is because you think you're going to be reliving your past. So what Joe Dispenza talks about, which I'm going to just reiterate and repeat here, again, giving him the credit, is that the place to be is in what he calls the generous present moment. And in the generous present moment is the time that you no longer live in the known past or predictable future. Now, the reason he uses those terms is because most people don't live consciously. They don't live in the present moment. They live repeating what's happened to them in the past. And then that's why he refers to it as the predictable future. Because if you keep doing what you've always done and keep thinking the way you've always thought, we can pretty much predict how things are going to work out moving forward. Which is why we want to take this moment and say, wake up, pause, take a deep breath. You can do this. How do I know? Because I know it's possible for all chiropractors out there, or whatever profession that you're in. If you will stop repeating the past and start creating your future, dreaming about what's possible, and reminding yourself that you can take a simple next step or two or three and stay focused on what's possible, not what's probable, you will find things happen differently. And all of that starts with what Jeff talked about in the very beginning. I want to repeat that who you are determines how well what you do works. You could give 10 different chiropractors the exact same strategies and they will get 10 different outcomes. It's not the strategies. It's the person implementing the strategies and their mindset, their energy, and their ability to take action over and over and over again. And that's what we're talking about here today. Where are you? Are you just simply reliving your past, thinking this is the way it's always been, therefore this is the way it's always going to be? Or are you able to say, wait a minute, that makes so much sense. Why would I repeat the bad things that have happened to me moving on in the future when you're in charge and control of your focus, your attention, your energy, your mindset? And that's what we're here to remind you about here today. So as you are curious about learning what the Payday Practice is all about, more specifically, as you're curious about learning what can you do to reduce your financial stress in practice, create the financial future that you want so that you can be the happy, joyful chiropractor and person that you know is possible for you, then I want to remind you that you can do it. And the way I know you can do it is by making sure you take time to focus on your present, current, generous moment and dream about the possibilities of the future, as opposed to predict that the future is going to be something like your past. Jeff, that bring anything up for you, my friend, or what do you think people need to know?
I think it's a great topic, and so many of us bring baggage with us as we go along, and the baggage gets greater, and often the older that we get and the more experience that we have. So being able to take a look at that more objectively, let go of what you can, and really be able to take what I'm going to call, I guess, a more actionable approach to your future is one of the most important things I think any of us can do, and that extends far beyond business. It extends to really all facets of our life, but it certainly applies to practice. And many of us, I believe, in the vein of practice, we might struggle early on. Maybe we have a fractured relationship, a business relationship early on. Maybe we have something that didn't meet our expectations and agreements, and we feel as though we got burned, and we carry that with us throughout time, and we see this happen time and time again. And I'm not going to pick on chiropractors because of it. I think it's more about the nature of the entrepreneurship and sole proprietor nature of chiropractic. While most of us really desire being caregivers day in and day out, many of us are, let's say, gently moved into the entrepreneurial business building aspects of practice that for many of us, it might not be exactly what we love to do day in and day out. That's a challenge situation. If we have a power issue early on with a different doc or something like that, quite often that can lead to us really carrying a lot of that with us throughout time. So understanding that each new day is a new day. Certainly understanding that you can control what happens from this day forward. And while things happen, it's your ability to navigate it that is really going to shape your life experience. I think is some of the most important topics that you can be bringing up, Jason. And I'm going to encourage every doc listening and watching. Our mindset segments are awesome. I learned something from it each and every week from Jason. He has great topics. If you have not checked everyone out, head over to our YouTube channel because we have a playlist with every mindset segment from over 6 months of Smart Chiropractor shows. So you can watch them all. You can set them up as a playlist. Get them going, get them rocking in your practice. I love kicking it off with this segment each and every week. This week was another good one. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.